If you've been with me on this channel, you'll know that I just talk about different things that I've noticed, my perspective on, or my ideas on certain things about life. Well, for the past 2 videos at least. But today I just wanted to talk about something that seems subtle or trivial, but in fact quite, should I say, affected to an extent my own childhood. STEEZE. Now, while growing up, I always wanted to be the freshest, that's what we call it in Nigeria, at least back then in secondary school. The freshest guy, the cleanest guy, this, the slickest whenever I appear. And that was the way I lived my life throughout secondary school. Always conscious about what the next person has to say about how good I look or appear. That was at the top of my list. And it was like, is it Robert Pattinson? He would say, like, when you're writing lyrics, you hang like a collar at the top, and then you pause down on the rest of your lyrics. And that was the way I hung STEEZE above every other thing or activity I was engaged in. Now, I know it might sound funny, yes, but this way of living prevented me from living out certain parts of myself that I needed to, and denied me experiencing certain adventures or experiences that a teenager needed. I wish I could give you examples, but I know one of them is not exploring my talents or skills, for example, in the area of sports back then, simply because I was afraid that my first foray into this sport, anytime you venture into something new, you will not be good at it. And because of that, I shied away from it because I wanted to make sure that my STEEZE was maintained so that I don't go and flop on my first attempts in front of the school, in front of girls, in front of juniors, in front of seniors, all because I wanted to keep my STEEZE. And I realized that to an extent, I'm capable of doing more sports than I actually thought I was. From hindsight now, as I've grown older, looking back, I got to play most of these sports, especially when I entered final year in secondary school, SS3. That's when I realized that I don't have enough time again. And so many things, from chess to tennis to football to volleyball. I think there was even a time we conducted wrestling. Oh, it's not a sport. Yeah, wrestling is not a sport. But yeah, I did all of this, and during that period I became less conscious about what people say about me. I was still conscious, but I was not as conscious as I was in the previous 2 years, trying to make sure that I maintain that, you're the freshest, all of that. This is just my own message to younger viewers, anyone watching this. Don't let nothing stop you from finding out who you really are. In fact, that should be the journey that preoccupies your mind. That should be your preoccupation. Who am I? And then as many adventures as you need to go on to discover that person that is you, embark on it. Don't let trying to, being conscious about, girls are here, what do I do? Or boys are here, I need to be, follow who you are. And don't be afraid to change your engagement or your passion when you find out that a passion in something is not there anymore and you're beginning to pick up interest in another thing. Please be honest and be frank enough to make the switch. The area of sports was just one of the few areas where this keeping and maintaining of STEEZE can affect even your development as a human being, as a man. I think I'm speaking mostly to the male audience here. You don't want to ask a question in the class because you don't want to look stupid. Well, what happens when you get to university? How are you going to learn? I'll just ask my mates after class. Well, that's good, but how will you learn to face people? There are little things that should not be much of a challenge, so much that you take, a lot of years go by before you try that thing for the first time. Let it be that something beyond your control was what limited you or stopped you from trying that thing for the first time. So make sure that, oh yeah, I have dotted the I's and crossed my T's in my life and for my development. So yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for listening and watching.